want food? I'm buying.
Please, I haven't eaten all day.
I hardly ever eat at my high school anymore. Food has no flavor.
Oh, what, you're buying your food?
Sorry, it's the last of my money.
You've got to be kidding me. The food at my high school sucks.
Well, you can take that up with Obama's wife, not me.
Should have just stayed in Nickelodeon where she belongs. Fine, I'll just do what those kids on the internet are doing.
What are you? Get that out of here!
Everywhere you look, everywhere you go, somebody who needs you lost. Everywhere you look, everywhere you go, step there and all alone. Light is waiting to carry you home. Everywhere you look, everywhere you look.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday in Tech. I'm your host, Spencer Dowdican.
And I'm Sadie Murdoch. It's nice to join you up here, Spencer.
It's nice to have you, too. Well, it's time for today's trivia question. Would you like to read it off?
Absolutely. Drum roll, please. What year did Christopher Columbus sail the ocean blue? I always hated history so much. It's always so boring.
Well, you know what isn't boring? The Super Bowl. Just hug it, tug it, football.
Didn't you and Parker talk about that on Not Fake News?
Yeah, we did. Here, I'll show you guys. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm your host, Spencer Dowdican.
And I'm Parker Hutchins. Now, before we start the segment, I just want to ask about last week. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. The chick kind of lost it, though.
Well, speaking of losing it, this weekend was the 52nd annual Super Bowl, and no matter what happens on the field, it does not compare to what happens in the stands.
That's right. The Eagles fans have had a reputation for messing up in the stands, but this time they took it to the streets.
Well, that was disturbing, but I'm not surprised.
You know what isn't surprising?
What?
The internet ruining things. Like the latest news trend is Tide Pod Challenge, where people literally eat Tide Pods and film it.
But isn't that poisonous and dangerous to consume?
The memes are totally worth it.
Okay, well, I think that people should be using Tide Pods for something else.
Like what?
Like their laundry, what you're supposed to use Tide Pods for, the entire reason that they were made. All right, guys, that about wraps it up for this week's episode of Not Fake News. We'll see you next time.
There's no good vegan options in school lunches.
Well, it's funny you say that, because the documentary we have this week is about how there's really no good options for really anybody.
Wait, I thought it was supposed to be about...
Anyways, hey, let's see what Nicolette made for us.
Michelle Obama constructed the Healthy Hungry Free Kids Act in 2010. This put more restrictions on schools and what they could sell to students. In any American high school cafeteria, you won't find a trace of salt or anything that isn't labeled fat-free.
We have to really watch sodium. They have to be whole grain if they're breaded, or there's bread in the recipe. It needs to be whole grain. They wouldn't let us have like flavored chocolate or strawberry milk unless it was fat-free.
School lunches are more unenjoyable than ever because of the regulations. A lot of students tend to look for other options for lunchtime. A survey consisting of 50 high school students showed that the majority of them go off campus. And of those kids who eat the school lunch, only 7.7% want to. First Lady Michelle Obama tried to help childhood obesity by adding all these regulations. Luann made a good point, saying schools are fighting against what students get elsewhere. Many high schoolers attend tech schools and prefer to eat there. But why?
One of the differences is we have a fryer. A lot of the kids like the fried chicken, stuff that's not really available at the high schools due to nutritional content. The kids always say they prefer to eat here and the food tastes better.
Without any regulations, tech schools can sell endless amount of food choices that students like. Most kids throw away what they buy at their high schools, which makes it seem like the regulations are pointless.
They don't eat it because it has no flavor. And, you know, the flavor that kids like is salt, and we can't put it in there, or we can't even sell it to them to put it on themselves. So they choose to, you know, bring their lunch.
Obviously, obesity is a problem. However, giving kids bland, flavorless food isn't solving it. So the question is, how do we solve it?
Hello and welcome back. I'm Parker Hutchins here for the Animal of the Week, where we bring in our animals weekly to tell you a bit more about them. I'm taking over Sydney because we're going to be talking about her speedy spike boy, also known as a hedgehog, Ezra. So, Sid, what made you want to get Ezra the hedgehog?
Well, I've actually always wanted a hedgehog ever since I was about 14, and my parents always said no because they just always wanted just the average cat and dog in the house. They didn't want anything else. But the day I turned 18, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get one. I'm 18. You can't legally tell me no anymore. And they kind of just lived with it after a while. Now my mom loves him.
Yeah, no, it's always a good plan. Just make him do it anyways. So, how old is he and how long have you had him?
He's about 3 months old, and I've had him for about 2.5 months. So he's decently a baby still.
Yeah, no, he's
despite
little.
how big he is right now.
Whatever, like it's not like a puppy for a hedgehog, like for the small one.
No, they get about as big as a guinea pig, though.
Okay. So is he difficult to take care of?
I mean, they do have certain things you have to watch after. Like their food, you can't feed them any like specific like fruits. Like if they are very citrusy, it's very poisonous for them. And in their cage, they can't have any like wood chips or anything like you normally would do with any other guinea pig or anything like that. Because wood is very poisonous to them, so if they try to chew on it, not a good deal. Right. They're also they're nocturnal, so they're up at night, but they do need a wheel, so get like a, you know, silent wheel, because they are up at night, and they're supposed to run like 10 miles a day, so the wheel is always good. And they're actually supposed to be in really like hot environments, so you have to keep their cage above 72 degrees, so you have to have a heat lamp. Or they'll try to hibernate.
All right. Well, thank you, Sydney, for coming in and letting us meet him. He's adorable. All right. We now go into our music segment, and this week we have the musical stylings of our very own Anthony Morales.
This one goes out to the one I love. This one goes out to the one I left behind. Another prop has occupied my time. This one goes out to the one I love. Fire occupied my time. This one goes out to the one I love.
All right, everyone, that about wraps up our show this week.
Wait, what about the trivia question winner?
The winner this week is Jack Copeland, so come down to TV1 and claim your prize.
And next week we'll be talking about something about Donald Trump on Not Fake News.
And Colin has an interesting documentary about prejudice.
And Brendan from the first episode's music segment and our host Parker will be performing a cover of the song. We'll see you next time on Tuesdays in Tech.
This one goes out to the one I love. This one goes out to the one I left behind. Another prop has occupied my time.